Listening to all these esteemed speakers talk, and it's been a wonderful journey. And thank you to IGDC for calling me here. Um, so my name is Abhir, and I am from the city of Joy, Calcutta. And I've come here with a huge responsibility of conveying a message which is going to be relevant to every single person who is sitting in this room today. Uh, so, like, the topic for today is understanding value and time in Web3 games, right? So, before I kind of dive deep into what Web3 games basically are, it's very important for everyone sitting here to kind of understand the basics of Web3, correct? And today, the knowledge that I'm going to impart is going to be about the future of gaming, and it's going to be focused on what our country holds in its very recent future, right? Don't get me wrong. I know that predicting future is a full-blown profession for a lot of people, and I'm not one of them. I'm here to talk with logic, and I'm here to discuss and debate with all of you as I go forward. So please bear with me, and please stop me anywhere where you feel you're not understanding anything, because this is something which is very new to a lot of people. So yeah, here it goes. So the basics of Web3, right? How many of you here know the progression from Web 1 to Web 3 or have a basic idea of it, right? So you guys will know and can testify for the fact that there wasn't like too much of a difference between Web 1 and Web 2. Web 1 was specifically where the starting blog statics that you used to watch or you used to simply read, like the example on this picture is something which is Web 1, right? And over here there was ownership, there was one-way communication, and it was just basically reading stuff, right? That's where blogs came in. And then came Web 2, where there was a very fine line of difference where two-way communication kind of came up as well. But the fundamental of Web 2 is, and by the way, Web 2 is basically anything that you see right now, starting from Facebook, Google, Instagram, wherever you can communicate, wherever you have something coming in from the other side as well. But there is a fundamental difference between Web 2 and Web 3 where there is no ownership, and I'll come to that later. Web 3 is basically something which opens up the possibility of ownership and opens up the possibility of decentralization. Now, dwelling on the fact of ownership, right? How many of you here have made Facebook profiles? I'm guessing everyone here in the room has a Facebook profile, right? Everyone has an Instagram account. Everyone has a LinkedIn profile, where you're voluntarily putting in your own personal data and providing this data to centralized platforms who have complete control of it. Now, I'm pretty sure that everyone here knows that this data is being monetized in the current world, right? For example, when Rashmi Ranjan sir was talking about advertising, right? When a brand approaches any centralized platform for advertising, they make use of this data that you provide to these platforms, and they make use of this data to get monetary value from these guys, from these brands, right? So your data doesn't really remain with you anymore because you're not getting any chunk of that money, right? And that is what Web3 hopes to solve. That is what Web3 is all about. It's about a decentralized future where if you're giving data, which is some kind of value that you're providing to any platform, right, you should get something in return. That is what Web3 believes in. So let's talk about gaming, right, and the difference between Web 2 and Web 3 games. So how many of you here are like avid Web 2 gamers or have played a game like Valorant or PUBG? And how many of you have actually spent money on it? You guys buy skins, buy bundles and packs inside the games? Okay, so what kind of games do you play? And do you buy skins inside it? So you're owner of those skins, right? No, you're not. That's where you're wrong. You actually don't own these items. You simply own the licenses to access them inside the game. That is the core fundamental which Web3 solves. Tomorrow, for example, I'm a Valorant player. I won't be able to cite the example of your game. But tomorrow, if I'm living in a city like Bangalore, which faces like 3 to 4 power cuts a day every time it rains, and if I'm in a competitive match and if I'm kicked out thrice consecutively, I'll be banned for 8 hours, 30 days, indefinite periods of time by the publishers itself, right? And I won't be able to access my assets, something for which I have paid my own money. Is that not unfair? Is that unfair or not, right? So what Web3 kind of solves is, when you put in money to buy any asset inside a decentralized platform, there is a technology that is an underlying technology that is basically embedding this asset to your name, and it is smart contract based, and nobody has the power to take it away from you. For example, in a Web3 game, if you buy an asset for a shooter game, if you buy a gun skin, not only does it belong to you forever until and unless you choose to sell it somewhere, it also gives you transparency of whether that asset is unique or not, whether it's one of a kind or it's one of a particular collection. It adds a particular identifier to it through technology, through code, and it also gives you the power to choose what to do with it. Even if the game gets banned, for example, if tomorrow Valorant gets banned, your skins become like worthless. Like everybody faced this with BGMI. A lot of money was spent on BGMI assets, but once BGMI got banned, those assets completely went out of worth, right? So what Web3 solves is this problem. When you buy an asset, it remains with you. It also opens up possibility for interoperability. For example, if the publisher comes up with another game in the same kind of category, right, you can use those assets, reuse those assets in that game as well. That is what the basic difference between Web 2 and Web 3 games is. So let's kind of talk about the market that everybody has kind of been touching upon since the morning, and I won't really bore you guys with it, so you guys can kind of look at the data that is here. And I've only put in the relevant points which are relevant to this conversation that we are having. So Indian mobile gaming industry is expected to reach 5 billion by 2025. And it's expanded at a CAGR of 38% versus 8% in China and 10% in US. India's proportion of new paying users, which are basically users who are micro-transacting in these games, has grown at the fastest rate in the world, 40% to 50% from 2020 to 2021, right? Transaction-based games revenues has increased by 26% in India itself. Paying players, 17% paying players have increased by 17% in from 2020 to 2021, and this is according to a report by EY-FICCI, right? And India has 507 million gamers right now currently, out of which 120 million people are transacting for things they do not own, right? They own the licenses to use them, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, the gaming industry has disrupted like multiple times. Like we think that okay, maybe it's disrupted maybe twice or thrice, but no, across its entire life cycle, it's many new business models have come up, and these business models have disrupted the industries, this industry multiple times. For example, when arcade games came up, it was a $15 billion industry. From there, very recently in the early 21st century, the freemium gaming, when Dota and when Farmville came up, right? Nobody thought that freemium, making games free and accessible to the entire mass, would actually yield result. That is when microtransactions came in. And then came in like virtual reality, VR, right? Which you basically can also see a few stalls which have been set up outside, and you can experience them. So I believe play to earn, Web3 and decentralization, where there is true ownership, is going to be the future of gaming, and that is the story I've come here to kind of tell you about, and how time and value are basically the key levers which will lead to this disruption is what the next slides are about. So guys, we often find time being attached to a particular noun, which I think everybody here in the room is very familiar with. What is time very frequently attached to? Money, right? So let's talk about monetization of time. What do game developers need? Okay, games earn revenue from three sources. Primary market, which is when you basically buy a game with money, right? A secondary market, which is in-app purchases, correct? Or microtransactions, that can be skins, assets, a lot of other stuff. Number three is ad revenue. Basically, this is defined by the number of gamers or number of daily active, monthly active, or weekly active users who reside in a game and engage with the game, right? And for this, they spend their marketing dollars with centralized platforms like Facebook and Google. So for example, if I am a game, I will give my money to Facebook and Google and say, hey, reach out to maybe 10,000 gamers, hypothetically, in this particular geography, right? So what they do is they run targeted ads on particular geographies or particular demographics, and they reach out to a top of the funnel users. But the funnel for the game actually starts there. They end up spending for 10,000, but when all the gamers go through the funnel, which is what Rashmi Ranjan was explaining in his slide, click-through rate and completion rate is very low. So what happens is games end up spending for 10,000 users, but they only get 10 paying gamers and 100 engaged gamers in their entire life cycle of making this spend, right? Which does not really make sense to me. So the value realized is actually 10. The cost of acquisition is higher. There is no money which is going to the community. They are the ones who are going to be engaging in the game, but there's no value being accrued to them, and there is no ownership on top of that for any in-app purchases being done here. Now what we at IndiGG aim to solve is that if the money flows directly to the community, what if we eliminate these middlemen? What if we truly reward the engagers for their engagement? Because time is money, right? If I am spending X amount of time on any product, I should be given something in return. That is my right, correct? So what happens is we have told game devs from around the world that, hey, if you're willing to spend $10,000, right, on your marketing campaign, spend it with us, spend it directly to the gamer, and what we will do is we will design mechanics inside your game, let's call them quests or levels, which the gamer can achieve to get this reward. So hey, from tomorrow, if Valorant comes to you and tells you, hey, if you will get $2 in return of 10 headshots that you complete in a game, right? You will get a free battle pass if you can win 10 games in a row. So we are kind of rewarding time and skill and churning this reward out straight to the community instead of kind of spending it on advertisements. Now how do we build this community? We build this community through esports, we build this community through consumable content, we build this community through a feeling of belonging. Right now our Discord server is 250K strong. Right now our Twitter social gaming community is above 300 strong, and in total we have around 500K gamers, and their story is what I'm here to tell you. So yeah, ownership, the value of ownership is kind of described in this slide. Everybody knows about Steam here, right? Every gamer who's here. You know that Steam charges 30% fee on every transaction you make for the game dev. If you are a game dev and if you ever list your game on Steam, for every 1 rupee spent on your game, they get 30 rupees. For what? They're already charging you listing fee, right? On top of that, there's a gray market that is present in Steam. It's not a black market, it's not a legal market. Legally, you cannot trade Valve assets, but on Steam, people do trade CSGO skins. For example, a CSGO skin sold for $400K on Steam. But you know the funny part? What if you as a game dev just replicate this skin tomorrow? What happens? The value just goes down, right? This can never happen in Web3 because it's blockchain embedded and it has a unique identifier which is identified through code and is smart contract embedded. So you know that whatever you're buying, right, you're basically spending money for the uniqueness of it. For example, if there were 10 replicas of Mona Lisa wouldn't have the same value, right? So it's the same with Web3 assets. So there is true ownership, there is no limitations, there is transparency. Everything is transparent, like on a ledger, everything is transparent. Every transaction on the blockchain is transparent for everyone to see. And interoperability of assets. Like I said, you can change one asset from one chain, take it to another chain, take it to another game, take it wherever the hell you want. It's yours. You truly own it. So you can do whatever you want with it. So yeah, time and value are going to become the key levers of disruption in the industry, in the gaming industry, is what I believe. Because Web3 is empowering the community, it's giving them ownership, it's monetizing the time and skill that they put in. And Web3 is also providing trust, because it's providing ownership again and providing transparency as well. And hence, Web3 is going to be inevitable. And to testify to this, we have 500K gamers who are actively right now, engaging with our community. They are led by passion. They are hustling every day to make this dream happen. And as you can see, there are a lot of emotions that are a result of it. Now guys, before I end this and start taking in questions, I just want to show you guys a small clip of how college students in Bangalore, right? We did a recent Web3 championship in Bangalore where we did esports for Web3 games and gave out rewards as an exchange for time and money, time and value that these guys put in with us. So yeah, if you guys can just play the video for them. Yeah, I'll just step up.
Backward means rewind, a gunshot means forward. You requested it, so we rewind.
Yeah, so guys, that was a very short clipping from our recent Web3 championship. It was an esport tournament which engaged about 400 to 500 gamers in Bangalore, and we did an entire tournament with them. So yeah, we are on our way. We are on our way in shaping the future, and we believe in a dream. And along with us, 500K gamers in this community believe in this similar dream. And it is my responsibility, again, a huge responsibility to convey this message to every gamer, which is why I'm here. And China is considered to be the world's physical goods repository. And I believe that with digitization and with 750 million smartphones, with 600 million having access to internet and 507 million gamers, we can really, really become the nation which becomes the repository of digital goods, right? Because digital goods is what Web3 is all about. True ownership, transparency, real value of time, which is money, is what is going to change this industry, and we are working towards it. And we would love for you to join us in this mission. It's as simple as going onto our Discord, going onto our website, or the next slide is a QR. You guys can download our wallet, go to our website, play some games, earn some money, and see where this all leads, right? You can judge it for yourself. You can become a part of us whenever you want. And yeah, I mean, that's it, guys. Thanks for being patient. Any questions? I'll just put up the QR on the screen while I take the questions, so you guys can go ahead and join in. Yeah, please, let's start.
So basically, you know how NFTs and every assets are,
Correct.
kind of rocky in the current financial situation. How do you think it will be in the future?
See, financial situations are always rocky, bro. Like even in the Web2 world, right? You never know which stock will plummet. You never know what will lead to what. So, in terms of NFT specifically, right? Over here, what we do is we increase the propensity for a user to pay. For example, if we are rewarding you for simply engaging X hours of 24 hours in a day, we expect you to kind of be the proper judge of whether you will spend that money back or not. You should be the decider of that fact. So whether you actually choose to invest in an NFT is completely up to you, and it's completely up to your risk-taking potential or your risk appetite. There are always risks attached, and yes, it is an unregulated, it is an unstable market, but that's what every market was if you go back to history, right? Like people used to kill for water, for God's sake. So, like, I mean, you get what I'm saying. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
It all depends on your risk-taking appetite, but I would say that if you're giving data for free, rather than that, invest in something which you have control on. Yes, I think you had a question.
Given, I think this was around last year or maybe
Yeah,
the
yeah.
year before, where we had like huge crashes of the value of Ethereum and Bitcoin and stuff like that, right? And like given the volatility, I'm not saying that's a reason for me to be skeptical. I'm saying that's the reason why most people are skeptical to even enter into Web3 technology, right?
Okay.
Because of the fact that they believe there are financial risks. Even if there aren't, even if there are like safety mechanisms, the problem is it's hard to get people to have incentive to even get into it in the first place, right? So how are you, because since you've been in this business for a while, like convincing people who are just new to this that, you know, this isn't as dangerous as they may think it is?
Yeah. So, what's your name? Sorry.
Sachin.
Sachin, there's a fine line of difference between Web3 and crypto.
Yeah.
You're talking about crypto, right? Now, it's very important to understand Web3 is not all about crypto. Crypto is the financial side of DeFi, Web3, decentralization, right? It's like stock market takes up like 2% of the entire world right now, maybe. I'm just placing hypothetical figures. It's just like that. Web3 is not all about crypto. A part of it is crypto, right? There are governance tokens inside games which are linked to other currencies, which have values pegged to other currencies. Cryptocurrencies is what I'm saying, right? But over here at IndiGG, we do not give out crypto rewards, right? We become the custodial of your earnings, right? So you will not be earning in Bitcoin or Ethereum or USDT or USDC, to be specific. You are going to be earning in INR for the time you put in, right? We take the risks of being the custodial of your wealth, and we make sure that if you're spending 10 minutes in a game, and if you're supposed to, and if you're being promised 100 rupees out of it, no coin can decide your fate, right? Because as I said, right, it's a value in exchange of time. It is not being judged on where the current market is or what the situation of a coin is or where the financial situation of the world is right now. We will only present the quest to you or the level of progression to you if we see that it's feasible for us, or else we just simply don't. We focus on building community anyway, right? So there's nothing like that.
Got it. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Hi, I have like two questions.
Sure.
One question is you mentioned interoperability.
Yes. Interoperability.
Yeah,
Yes. Even
so-
I stutter sometimes while saying
that's
that.
right.
Yeah.
So you say, like compared to Valorant, I guess, you say one day the publisher can take
Yeah.
your hands off it, and you lose it.
Yeah.
But in Web3 space as well, we are relying on the publisher to have grant access for the asset, basically. So if we have game number 1 and game number 2, and they decide, oh, we're not going to integrate the assets from the previous game. Those assets just lie there for the first game, and they stop support for the first game, and it just dies off.
Okay, so this is what ownership truly solves, right? So you might be knowing of people who have coin collections, stamp collections, right? Have you ever collected Pokemon trading cards? Have you ever collected Duel Masters? Have you ever collected diamond cards, Pokemon Tazos, Beyblades, stuff like that? Why do you collect them? I mean, why do you still keep them?
I threw them away.
Huh? You've thrown them away, but some people keep them, right?
I
What
guess.
is the value of that? Do you know a Beyblade collection, the triple D, the Drigger, Dronzer and Dragoon, that original set of 3 Beyblades sold for $100K on eBay?
Okay.
Do you understand the worth of that?
Yeah.
Imagine long term, bro. Think the future. 15 years from now, right, if your assets of PUBG were on chain, you could have said that, hey, I have the M416 Joker skin, I have the M416 Glacier skin, and I have the M416, what was that, Lizard something skin, right? And I have a collection of it. This collection is super rare, and I'm pretty sure everybody in India has sold it. If you want access to it, this is the bidding price. People bid for art created during Renaissance because it created a revolution. That is what we are selling here, right?
Fine.
And NFTs and interoperability is not really decided by publishers, it's decided by the chain on which the game is, right? So if the publisher is building on the same chain, interoperability doesn't really, yes, to some extent right now,
They have to grant
because we are
access, right?
progressively decentralizing, right? It's
Yeah.
a progressive decentralization of the economy. Everything is not going to happen at once, but yes, like everybody is working towards that. For example, you can take the lore of League of Legends, take it to teamfight tactics, and if the similar characters become relevant in both the games, then why can't assets, you get my point, why can't assets be relevant to both the games?
Yeah, but if the publisher somehow decides, I don't want to do this,
The
buy
publisher
everything
would
again.
be shooting himself in the leg, right? If they do that. Think of it.
I guess, but it still like doesn't answer the question where.
If you're a game dev, you've
So-
made a game which is successful and which has had tons of in-app purchases,
Yeah.
right? And you build another game.
Okay. CS:GO.
So it's easy user acquisition. for you.
CS:GO.
Yes, CS:GO.
This is not solved by Web3 though.
Mhm.
Like CS:GO is going to do this. They are not going to make everyone buy the skins again
Yeah.
because they will be shooting
But you
themselves.
don't own them, bro. It's just a script which is attaching the skin to your name, and you have to depend on CS:GO for that to happen.
Yeah.
If CS:GO doesn't make it happen, it doesn't happen.
Same question.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
But the whole concept of NFT is that you don't own the thing, you just own a key which specifically attaches that object to you.
No.
So if like it's example like buying license for it,
No.
if example I can duplicate that same NFT again, it just won't have the key to it. So isn't that key basically adding artificial scarcity to the object?
No, bro, I would, no disrespect, but you're wrong in this case. NFT doesn't work like that. NFTs is basically, there's a blockchain, right? There are particular number of assets which are embedded to that blockchain, right? And then when you basically give in money to the chain in exchange for that asset on the smart contract, your wallet address gets embedded to that asset. So and it's available to the public to see. So anybody can check back, look back at the ledger and see that that asset actually belongs to you, and you have sufficient proof on chain to say that this asset belongs to you. And the uniqueness is defined by the smart contract, because that smart contract will have one code which is attached to you, and you can search that code again and again to see if anybody has even stolen it away from you.
That's actually the question I was asking.
Yes.
Is that we are buying the code, not the asset itself, because anyone can duplicate the asset, remake the asset, and again sell it again.
I mean, you can make a JPEG of Mona Lisa as well, but that doesn't make it the Mona Lisa, right?
Yeah, but there is a reason why the Mona Lisa is expensive, because it was painted by someone very specific. It was
Yeah,
painted by
correct.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Correct.
But anyone can paint the Mona Lisa and significantly not have the same value as the original.
So bro, you're talking about the value of art here. For example, when people makes an NFT, it sells for millions.
Yeah,
right?
because there is scarcity to it.
Because yes, there is a reason, there is a use case, there is an utility to it. In games, NFT have a very specific utility, right? You access the game, you play the games through it. In outside of games, different NFTs have different use cases. There is an NFT project. For each NFT you mint, they plant a tree. For each NFT you mint, they donate X amount to a cancer foundation. For each NFT you mint, they donate a certain amount to orphans. So there is use cases for a lot of NFTs. For each NFT you mint, sometimes the Web3 world is quite absurd, where they say that, hey, for each NFT lit, each NFT minted, there will be a joint that will be lit, right? So it's all about that. So it is that the spectrum is that wide, and use cases can be defined in any way you want. That is what Web3 offers you. Now, whether other people will buy into that use case or not, it depends on, like a lot of people mentioned today, is how good of a product and how good of a use case you're making. So it all depends on whether you make good art, whether that art is relevant to people. The relevancy is what defines the value of your NFT. And the relevancy may change with time, may not change with time, right?
Okay. Thank you.
But bro, I would request you to just go back and read up on NFTs a bit more, because there is nothing that takes an ownership of an NFT away from anybody who has minted it. No, I get it. It's a very common confusion. It's a very complicated thing to kind of understand. But if you read up about it, if you see the science behind it, you'll be able to see how it is actually yours and how no one can take it away from you, right? It's actually technology which ensures that that doesn't happen. Yeah.
But I was asking whether the relevance of it being yours specifically will add value to it.
See, if you buy a meme coin NFT, it won't have any relevance in your life. But if you actually invest in an NFT which has a use case, has a utility, has a product roadmap, what is happening with that money? See, the money you mint, the money you give after you mint an NFT goes to someone, right? Now, what that person is doing with that money is what defines or creates utility for this NFT, correct? So you need to make smart choices. For example, if you, instead of Colgate, if you buy some other toothpaste, right, which is basically harming your teeth, right, it's your choice. You're buying that. You can never go back to the company and say, hey, like, you're making bad paste, it's worse than Colgate, so give me my money back. They'll be like, hey, I already told you, you have all your information, why didn't you like do your due diligence? So you need to do that while buying NFTs as well. So that's what it's about. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, two of you. Yeah, you can go ahead. You have the mic.
Right. So you mentioned that there is a gray market for assets on
Correct.
games like Valorant and CS:GO, right?
Yes.
So just as an example, that CS:GO AK skin that went for $400,000, if there is a gray market that exists, and of course blockchain would be a secure way of maintaining ownership of these assets, but as soon as this gray market sort of gets incorporated into the fold of Web3 games, not talking about Web3 games that are starting out with Web3 assets, but talking about games that start out with Web2 assets that are integrating into Web3 assets. As soon as this gray market has to reckon with the sort of Web3 marketplace where there's interoperability, its value drops immediately. And I mean, it will rise, it will climb
Whose
back
value
up.
drops? The market as a whole?
No, not the market as a whole, but the
Skin's
asset.
value.
Yeah, the
The
asset
asset's
has a
value
certain
drops.
scarcity in the gray market. I mean, let's say there's like a CS:GO account with certain specific skins, like I don't know, a knife with like a rainbow skin on it
Got
or
it, got
whatever.
it. Yeah.
That's worth 2 lakhs. If the developer goes kaput, if Valve decides to pull the plug on CS:GO, then that's worth 0 rupees, sure. But
Yeah.
if it were to, I don't know, suddenly incorporate itself with the Web3 market, then its value could easily drop from 2 lakhs to, I don't know, 80,000, because
But why
there's
do you say
multiple, because there's multiple assets that are now in the market, multiple assets from multiple games. I mean,
So let's look at it this way. If there are 10 CSGO skins, which are worth 2 lakhs today,
Right.
And if those 10 skins convert to Web3,
Mm-hmm.
that conversion happens in a way, right?
Right.
They have to come on chain.
Mm-hmm.
For them to come on chain, there needs to be a smart contract written,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I wasn't thinking about that part. How
Yeah.
you'd
So that
like
answers your
bring
question, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. No, I wasn't.
So then the uniqueness is attached to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there will be 10 of those assets now embedded to smart contract and verified by it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
even if there is a JPEG or some coded version of it created which might be a replica, and if someone tries to sell it, they can easily click on it, check the transaction hash, see that it's not embedded, and can say that it's a fake.
Not a replica per se, but I was thinking more along the lines of, I don't know, these gray markets, right? They mostly operate on, let's say, eBay or
And in
Telegram.
Web3, there's no gray market.
Yeah, there would be no gray market, but
Yeah.
you'd also be, you'd also be forced to reckon with interoperability. So take a game like, I don't know, Team Fortress 2 being integrated with
I'm not aware of that.
another Valve game with its own assets. Having both of these games as assets being sold on the same marketplace, one of them would likely take a dip in value, and at some point it'll return to a sort of like true value, right? But during that sort of conversion period where you make a smart contract for the Web 2 asset, how would you mitigate the loss in value
But
for
isn't
consumers?
that brilliant that in assets value is dropping, becoming relevant, again dropping, again becoming relevant, because that's what it is with everything around you right now.
It is, but I mean, ask the guy who owns the asset, and he's going to be very
Yeah.
ticked off with it.
Okay.
Like,
I get your point, but that's actually a brilliant question. And so can you just repeat that once? What exactly are you asking?
well, if we're taking a Web 2 game and integrating it with a Web 3
The
market,
interoperability part of it.
if we're
Yeah.
bringing in the interoperability part, when that game previously existed in the gray market, you could take anything, not just CS:GO, like Fortnite accounts,
Got it.
all that,
Yeah.
like old season skins, whatever.
Yeah.
It would have had a certain value in the gray market, and whilst you're trying to integrate it with the Web 3 marketplace,
Yeah.
and creating a sort of secure smart contract for it, like you'd said, during that conversion period, there's going to be a drop in value.
So of course, whatever you get in the gray market
Yeah.
is actually illegal money that you're
Yeah,
earning.
yeah. That's
But-
true.
But whatever you're getting here will be legal.
Legal, yeah.
So illegal things have a tendency of being more expensive than legal things.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah,
Right, fair enough, fair enough.
fair enough.
Yeah,
Does
makes
that
sense.
answer your question?
Yeah, that works.
So yeah. Next, I think you had something. There's a lot of questions. Okay.
Hi, my question is, there is a backlash against NFTs creating environmental issues regarding the gas which takes. So how do you address this problem as a developer, making people come into more into NFTs? Because this has been around for some time, ever since Beppo bought his famous artwork. So how do you address this problem?
So yeah, you're absolutely right. NFTs and blockchain does have a toll on the environment currently. But I would like to give everyone here some hope regarding the fact that people all around the world in the Web3 ecosystem, they're actively working towards solving this. They're actively, new technologies are coming in which do not require so many, like, see, if you see the evolution from Bitcoin, which is simply a ledger and which needed huge computers to run, to mine, or right, as more and more Bitcoin is being mined, the calculation is getting more difficult, right? Yeah, proof of stake, right? No, it's proof of work. Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin is going towards, Bitcoin went to proof of stake. Now, that entire thing got eliminated, and Ethereum is looking to build a greener future, right? So I'm pretty sure there are more projects, more chains that are coming in. For example, you can research about Immutable X. You can research about Arbitrum. You can research about Optimism. And they're all building green ecosystem, like eco-friendly chains, which do not really harm the environment as much as Ethereum did or Bitcoin did. I would be lying if I said they don't. They do, but they have reduced, and we are working towards it. So yeah. Any other questions, guys? Okay. Oh yeah, your second question. Never got to that.
So you said there's this thing where it's like pay to earn, play to earn, right?
Play to earn, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't like calling it that, but okay.
What do you call it?
Like play to win. You never play to earn. You should play to win.
All right. So the question is, you said
Earning is an outcome of winning. That's different.
So the question is, this is like the common question I keep getting. So what is let's take your example for win 10 matches in a row to get a free battle pass, for example.
Okay.
So let's imagine a battle pass costs like 100 rupees, for example.
Sure.
So you play 10 matches, you get 100 rupees for free.
Okay.
That's our give. So what is to stop somebody from making a bot farm and then basically taking 10 accounts with like getting 100 accounts with battle passes for free and then selling it for like 50 bucks so that they don't have to put in the time, they just sell it for half the value.
Okay, so multiple things negate your logic here.
Okay.
So in Web3 games,
Mhm.
there's a unique wallet which
Yeah.
you need to create
Yeah.
through which an NFT will be minted,
Yeah.
which will be used to complete that game.
Okay.
Now you can say that one user might make multiple wallets and do it. It's still a unique wallet. And it's still a unique user for the game, so it's not really Sybil farming. It's not like I have one single device ID completing my game from 10 different wallets, right?
Okay.
Second thing is in terms of gating multiple users, multiple accounts from one user, there can be a lot of things that can be done. There can be captcha, there can be verification. Especially in terms of redemption of reward, you can attach KYC. KYC is a brilliant solution to this. Like I hope you have one Aadhaar card and one PAN, right? So you'll only be able to claim it once. And if you want to claim something which has been achieved by a similar account of yours, you would have to attach KYC at some point, right?
Yeah. What if they give the account before attaching KYC?
But they can't give you the reward before attaching KYC.
They'll give you the account or the wallet attached to the account both together.
Yeah, but you would need to earn in INR, right?
Yeah.
So how do you earn in INR from an organization without KYC?
I don't get the question actually.
So you have to have a KYC during claiming of rewards, right? So KYC solves this. See, Sybil farming will happen. A lot of people exploit these situations.
Yeah, it happens in current games as
They
well.
send in bots. Like this happens very frequently in the content industry where views, conversions are like form entries, for example, during a lot of marketing campaigns I have seen are being manipulated by bots and fake entries. There are literal agencies which run currently which even say that, hey, you can buy bots from us, right?
Yeah.
And they are legit agencies, right? They're not essentially bots but are inactive accounts which are equal to bots, which they will never add value to your product.
Yeah.
They will never add true value to your product or true conversions, right? So that always happens, but the negation can happen or the gating can happen at KYC where they won't be able to claim a reward, right? They can complete the quest, they can fill up the slot, but during the claiming, that can always be reversed, right?
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Kind of.
Yeah, okay, sure. Anybody else? Okay.
So I guess we had a lot of questions regarding as a consumer of Web3.
I love
So-
that, yeah.
So as someone who wants to get into Web3, I have a product which
Yeah.
I need to put it into Web3. What would be a solution which I will be getting to essentially make my Web2 product into Web3 product?
See, I'm not a dev, okay? So I won't be able to correctly answer you, but this is not a one-time conversation. But what are you like? So give me certain example. Give me some context. Actually, this is a very vague
okay,
question.
example, I have a
Like,
game.
Yeah.
It's getting me good retention.
Okay.
Now I want something to add which transforms it from Web2 to Web3.
Mhm.
So how would I go about it?
See, Web3 is the basics I explained, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about you need to build something on chain. You need to first approach, like you need to first educate about yourself about which chain is going to be perfect for you. Understand the utilities of those particular chains. For example, you can research Polygon, you can research Immutable X, you can research Arbitrum, Optimism, whatever, right? See which chain and what they have to offer, right? See which is apt for your game design, for your game mechanics, right? And then list yourself with that chain, correct? Build your, and then the chain itself helps you to build on it. For example, if you're a game which has like characters inside it, or gun skins, gun mechanics inside it, or forget about gun, even if you're a trading card game, if you have cards inside your game, they will help you attach each PNG or what is that, 3D renders, SVG or whatever that those files are to the chain, and they will make NFTs out of them. They will create an entire economy. They will create tokenomics for you. They will create governance tokens. They will create in-app tokens for you, and they will create the entire strategy for you to onboard Web3 from Web2. I am not a dev. I won't be able to tell you the exact process about it. I am only a marketing guy. So like, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I guess that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Thank you guys. Thanks for so many questions.